This is Take Back Our Power with host Joy Binah. Information that supports community health. Information empowering you with personal health. Take Back Our Power. And now, here's Joy.
Welcome to Take Back Our Power. I'm Joy Binah. Today, we're beginning the first of a two-part show that will bring you three dynamic women whose organizations are collaborating on an exciting project that inspires creative expression in our youth based on Latino art. Betsy Anderson is founding director of Museo Eduardo Carrillo, an online museum and private foundation established in 2000. Museo makes sure that Carrillo's pioneering presence, his participation in the Chicano movement in the late 60s, his years as a professor of art at UCSC and as a painter and muralist will be accessible and inspire future generations. Museo Eduardo Carrillo holds a singular place in the national landscape as the only artist-endowed foundation in the United States to represent a Mexican American. Julia Chiapella, a writer, poet, and teacher, is the director of the Young Writers Program. She and writing colleagues Jory Post and Karen Ackland created Santa Cruz Writes in the fall of 2011 to enhance literary opportunities for Santa Cruz County residents. Julia has been directing the Young Writers Program, which is co-funded by the Santa Cruz County Office of Education since the fall of 2012. Arlene Gottschalk, instructor and administrator, is a volunteer at the Pajaro Valley Arts, whose mission is bringing the community together through the arts. She has taught numerous courses on how students learn, including theories of cognition and motivation, and their application to traditional classrooms and online learning. She's currently instructing business and professional writing and writing for the web. Arlene is also helping create learning environments designed to support online instruction. Welcome, ladies.
Hello, Joy.
Welcome to the show.
Thank you so much.
Pleasure to have you all with us
It's good to
today.
be here.
Yeah.
Yes. Julia, could you give us a description of this very exciting project you're collaborating on?
I would love to. It's we are calling it the Hablamos, Juntos project. And what we have done and what we are in the process of doing is bringing artwork from Museo Eduardo Carrillo, an online museum that features the work of Latinx artists statewide, and bringing it to students in our community. They then use that artwork to act as inspiration for their own stories. And they put those stories down on paper with the help of volunteer writing mentors that the Young Writers Program brings into the project, and then create these pieces of artwork that have so much power and so much heart to them. What we do with those stories as part of the Hablamos Juntos project is and I'd love to show the first part, which we've already completed, is we put their stories in a book. So we professionally edit, design, lay out the book, and then print that book for the students, and it's also on sale in local bookstores. That writing is then, an excerpt of it is then taken and put on banners that are going to be featured in downtown Watsonville alongside the artwork. Because as you can see in this book, we have the students' art right alongside the students writing. So the idea is to carry that same sense into the banners that will be hung in downtown Watsonville in September. So, and there's going to be an art walk that's going to be in conjunction with that. The artists will be there. The banners feature, and Betsy, jump in. The banners feature the words from the artist on the back of these banners, and we're having posters, and so it's a wonderful opportunity for students to see themselves reflected in the artwork and have the opportunity to express things about themselves that the culture may not typically acknowledge.
Right. Just to tie into that, one of the mentor teachers said it so well, and her name is Yesenia Chavez, and she's a UCSC student and a mentor teacher with the Young Writers Program. And she wrote to us, she said, as a Latina who comes from similar backgrounds as most of the students, I find that most of these students, including myself prior to college, have never been exposed to art produced by people of color that replicates our struggles. And because of the artwork that each student chose, it allowed them to bring their stories into a forum that really acknowledged the value of their contributions, the value of their family histories, and their own experiences.
Their
How
participation.
wonderfully empowering,
Yeah.
how wonderfully empowering.
Yeah, their participation, and they're part of the culture,
Yeah.
because they are such a significant part
Of
of our
course.
culture.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah.
And as an individual, each one was able to express and break out of the stereotypes of what their identity is supposed to be, to step into their own light, and as you say, take their own power and share it both through the images that they picked and the writings that they have written.
Yeah, wonderful, wonderful. I'd like to have an understanding, an overview of your individual organizations and how you've come together. And Betsy, maybe you could begin by
Sure, yeah.
describing the Eduardo Carrillo Foundation that you are the director of.
Right. I'd love to. It's one of my favorite topics. Museo Eduardo Carrillo was founded by Eduardo's widow and a circle of artists and scholars. And it was founded in 2000. He died in 97. He was only 60. So his career was really in midstream. And Allison, his widow, Allison Carrillo, knew that there needed to be something that kept him in the world while he physically wasn't here. And to that end, she started Museo Eduardo Carrillo. Since that time in 2000, we've created a partnership with a physical place. The Crocker Art Museum houses the Allison and Eduardo Carrillo Gallery, and they're our lead in creating a traveling retrospective starting in 2018 for a comprehensive view of his artwork from the late 50s until when he died in 97, including his last unfinished painting. The initial years with Museo were setting up our website as a portal to find his work, things that were written about him. But as we evolved, it became very clear that we needed to broaden our presentation in the world. We became affiliated with ArtStore, which is a digital library available all around the world. We were asked to join Google Art Projects, and that, of course, speaks for itself because it's huge. But also, one of the missions as a museum was, what do we do to become relevant to our community and also to youth as part of education? We had created online exhibitions, which still felt very internal, and that's where my partnerships with Julia and Arlene made, for me, the experience of bringing art, Eduardo's art, truly alive again because of the way we could interface with young people.
Wonderful.
Yeah.
Wonderful. Arlene, could you
Yeah.
tell us about your organization?
Yes, I'm a volunteer at the Pajaro Valley Arts, and it's been part of the Pajaro Valley and the Watsonville area for over 30 years. And the mission is bringing the community together through the arts. And we have a physical house that's next door to the Y in downtown Watsonville, 37 Sutton Street. And it's a historic house. We do six shows there a year, and some of them are community altars for the Day of the Dead called Mi Casa es Tu Casa. We have member shows, and then we have shows from artists in the community. We also do a sculpture show in Sierra Azul Nursery, and we've been partnering with Pajaro Valley Unified School District. We put up their art show annually in the government buildings, in the Watsonville government buildings, and they stay up all year. We also do public art projects and arts education projects. So as we have our gallery shows each 6 a year, the schools come and take tours there. So we have docents who explain the shows. We do some workshops there, and we've been expanding with public art projects. And that's kind of how we started working with Betsy. We, in the school districts in the county, it's 55% Latino. And in the Watsonville, Pajaro Valley area, it's over 85% Latino. And we found the same thing, that the artwork is not being reflected to that community. And so the identity and the ability to express is not open to the students. So we made that part of our goal and our mission to expand in that area. And we started having a second show besides the Day of the Dead show that features contemporary Latino artists. At the same time, we started doing public art projects with the students. The first one being Inside Out, where we went to the high school student photography classes and they took photos of kids, and we blew them up 3 feet by 4 feet and did a wheat paste project and put them all over the government buildings. We had over 85 of them, and it was actually part of a national movement started in Paris. The second year we did it with something called Tasty, and it was with the San Jose Museum of Art, and we focused on agriculture and food, since it's such a big part of the community. And again, worked with the students in the photography departments and other ones, and did, again, big posters, and they all had things of the food they make or the food they grow or their family who's part of it, and put up big public art projects. Our third one was with immigration, and we did a writing project and started expanding and working with Julia a little bit, where the classes wrote their immigration stories and again have photos. And those photos are now up again 3 feet by 4 feet on the YMC building, which is adjacent to ours on Sutton Street. So we were really excited as we've been developing our relationship with PVUSD to expand into the Young Writers Project also.
Wonderful. So Julia, tell us about the Young Writers
The Young
Project.
Writers Program, yeah. So this is we just finished our 4th year, and we are modeled after 826 Valencia in San Francisco, and some of your viewers might know about that program started by Dave Eggers in 2000, where they have several programs. We're modeling our in-classroom program after them, where we bring volunteers from the community into the classroom to work with grades 4 through 12 students on teacher-initiated writing projects. And then the volunteers work for about 6 to 8 weeks, a couple times a week with students, and then we take that writing, we edit it very lightly, we don't change students' voice. We design and publish beautiful, gorgeous books that students can then have a sense of themselves as published writers, which is just goes such a long way toward their claiming themselves as writers and boosting the writer. You know, we're building the writer when we're not building the writing. So we want to create a sense of themselves as writers, and that they have the ability to continue that and explore the contents of their own mind and apply that to any situation in life. So we've published, I think, 25 books thus far, 3 posters, a newsletter, and a magazine. And we sell all of those publications at Bookshop Santa Cruz in Santa Cruz. Thank goodness for our small independent bookstores. So, we are very much a part of Santa Cruz County Office of Education, which supports the program. And we have partnerships, through the county with, PAHRO, with Museo, with Cabrillo College, which works with some of their digital media classes to produce our books. And we are continuing to grow. We are opening this fall at the Santa Cruz Museum of Art and History a writing center, an after-school writing center with a installation gallery next door. This is also modeled after 826 Valencia, where students have a portal to go through this installation gallery, which is going to be called the Chamber of Heart and Mystery. And it's going to be kind of a Lemony Snicket meets Jules Verne atmosphere. And they will go through that gallery, that installation gallery that's loosely focused on writing. They'll create a small little book in there. But next door is a writing center where they'll get help with their writing after school. So we have a lot of programs that we're developing. We also have a personal narrative workshop for college students. All of our volunteers are trained, and we're growing. So it's very exciting, and it's wonderful to be able to have these kind of collaborations in the community.
Wonderful. So tell me, Betsy, maybe you can speak to how this collaboration actually started and how it's working.
Right. Well, we have a layered memory of how it began. But I know Julia from a long time ago, and as a superb writer, wrote for the Sentinel. And I knew she also worked with young people, and that as a premier teacher, that she knew how to bring the topics to the students that would engage them. And so in that way, she and I started having a conversation, and then deepened the conversation even more. And the first book, called The Art of Who I Am, grew out of 2 online exhibitions by California-based artists, Jose Lozano in Los Angeles and Lorraine Garcia Nakata in San Francisco. Both of them have long and stellar careers. And then also I had been working with Arlene. Arlene was helping me gain a better sense of vision and clarity in my organization, I'd say. And just couldn't let go of not working together. And so tried to, as we kept talking, I realized how much depth she had in education. And so we started to talk about this, the idea of bringing this project called Hablamos Juntos, which was meant as a contemporary broadside project to teenagers. And in the beginning, maybe I'll just show, I had thought about the artwork, just the artwork, but Arlene, of course, she brought all the depth to bringing the artist's stories to the project. And we work, I think, super in tandem. This is by Eduardo Correa. And these, maybe I should let you say how we're providing them to the public, shall we?
Yeah. One of the exciting things that Betsy and Julia and I are all committed to is accessibility. That these images, these books have a far spread. All of the work that we're doing with the Hablamos Juntos are available free online to be downloaded. We're in the midst of upping our websites to have that availability. And these all can go into the classroom with, again, the history of the artist, what the art means to them, the medium, so there's a lot of layers of education to it. And we have sample lesson plans to make it accessible, one in language literacy, one in visual literacy, one in careers in the arts, and one in cultural literacy. So our objective is to make the information available to reflect the students' cultural identity and give value to them. And it's kind of based on our belief in social justice and the whole concept that every student, every person wants to be seen, heard, and understood. And so if you can be reflected in your environment and with this artwork where they haven't had a chance before, it gives a voice and gives a place and gives validity. So that's kind of our mission, and we all just have that passion, and it just keeps growing because there's a need and it's been appreciated.
One thing I wanted to add on top of that too is that from where I'm coming from as executive director of Museo at Eduardo Carrillo, his place, his societal place, and that being born in '37, going to college when it was absolutely rare for a Mexican-American youth to really have a place at the university. He, as an art student at UCLA, didn't see many, if any, Mexican-American artists. And so he created a connection to his ancestral homeland where his father and mother were both born in Baja California. He founded a school of regional crafts there. But when he came back and gained his MFA at UCLA and became a professor at UC Santa Cruz in 1972, he was positioned in terms of the social environment that he, at that point, could bring visibility to art by Mexican Americans who were more and more becoming known as Chicanos. And then after he passed away and we founded Museo, that we found that we could carry on for him, bringing visibility to Mexican American artists, so that that where it was missing in his education and where he brought it to college students, we as a team could bring it to teenagers, both in academic settings and also through alternative sites where teenagers are, so juvenile hall, jail, youth centers.
After-school programs,
after-school
libraries, museums.
Right.
It's accessible to everybody, wherever youth are.
And Museo, because we're an online museum, and we're completely mobile in terms of rising demographics of use of cell phones, we're available, like my colleagues here, but we're available 24/7 online. So young people can go online, they can look at the artwork, they can read the text of the artist who may speak directly to them, and they'll be able to read the excerpts from peers that were participants in the book projects that we've worked as a team with.
Wonderful.
Yeah.
Can you speak to how the goals of your organization overlap?
Well, I think that each one of us are seeking ways for students to have the opportunity to express as an individual. And in each in our own way, through writing, through visual arts, through online museums, we've all been able to come together. We have to have a similar intention in order to make a collaboration work. And so we've all been able to maintain our original mission and move forward that way.
Wonderful. You know, I'm wanting our viewers to see what it is that's been going on, so hopefully we're going to be able to show some visuals, and you can speak to that for a moment. And
yeah, absolutely. Let's see, a few things. One is that I wanted to just insert here, this was one of Eduardo's early collaborative images from 1970. It was painted on site at UCLA with 3 other artists, Ramses Noriega, Salsa Lache, and Sergio Hernandez. And this was painted and completed 2 weeks before the pivotal Chicano moratorium in Los Angeles. So when we have a work of this sort, which is so political, and then we move into perhaps a work such as Juan Fuentes, which one of the youth at the juvenile hall asked, we brought the posters to juvenile hall and asked the students what they would like to know. And they said, one of the students said, "What made you want to paint a worker in the fields? Like, why was that an important thing?" And this actually is a woodcut, but the whole notion of who gets seen in the world of the arts.
And what has value. Mm-hmm.
You know, this project is so exciting. It's such a fabulous collaboration. And this is just part 1. And we look forward to having you back again, where you're going to speak to exactly what is going on right out there in the community right now that our viewers can actually see in person, and what your goals for the future are. So thank you, Betsy, Julia, and Arlene, for joining us.
Thank
we
you, Joy.
so look forward to having you back on Take Back Our Power.
Thank
Thank
you.
you.
Thank you.